only one thing in South Africa that seems to be going worse than Cyril Ramaphosa's national dialogue, and that is the parliamentary committee's investigation into the Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi's allegations of crime and corruption that go all the way up to ministerial level. You may recall the KZN police chief Mkhwanazi shocked the nation when he did a press conference saying that he's got evidence of criminal syndicates that have got political backing that run the length and breadth of the country and are not just in KZN, but in fact are run out of Gauteng. Well, you know, this seems to be a very, very interesting thing because, you know, the normal thing would be to investigate it, but we understand that the government doesn't like to investigate corruption. President Cyril Ramaphosa immediately jumped into action a week later by saying, let's have a commission of inquiry, and he's now started that process. But, you know, he says, well, just stand by, this will only take a year. While the country is desperate to see people going to jail. These are people running drug syndicates. These are people that are murdering people. This is not something like we can wait a year for. You know, this is serious stuff. But in any case, Parliament, understanding that the nation were not happy with the establishment of a commission of inquiry, realized that they should spring into action as well. They should do something because people were quite rightfully and quite understandably very angry that the can had been kicked down the road. And this parliamentary ad hoc committee was put together to investigate these allegations. So you've got the two processes happening back to back. On the one hand, you've got President Ramaphosa, a sleepy commission of inquiry where they first have to get the bottled water and the Birchwood Conference Centre and God knows what else. And that'll only start in months from now. And then Parliament were meant to spring to life and say, no, no, don't worry, we will actually earn our money by investigating this ourselves. The first step was to get this committee established. Well, then, surprise, surprise, is when the fun and games started, because who gets put in charge of the committee? None other but a very loyal ANC cadre, appropriately named Soviet Leyani. And he has immediately done what the ANC does, and he is trying desperately to derail this process. They have a 10-hour meeting last week, in which they cannot establish the terms of reference. In other words, they can't decide what it is that they must do. And if you watch this thing, which I would suggest you don't, because you might just suffer from, blood pressure problems after that. You spend hours talking about the agenda, basically, before you even having the meeting. It is the most ridiculous thing. He wasn't alone in trying to derail the process. Julius Malema just arrived late. So that process was delayed by hours. ANC MP formally tagged for irregular activities in the COVID-19 days. Remember the whole COVID-19 program where no money was going to get stolen? But Kuselo Diko and her husband were very good at winning out of the COVID-19 debacle, but nobody is too bad to not end up back in the seat and ANC earning a big salary at your and my expense. She arrived late. That further delayed the process. So after 10 hours of meeting, they still don't have terms of reference. In other words, they still haven't started. They still haven't agreed on what the committee must do. And then the head of the commission, Soviet Leyani, insisted that he should be the person who has got the final say on the order that witnesses could be called up in and how long they're given to speak. Now that's beautiful, isn't it? Here you've got an ANC guy investigating the ANC, and he can decide who and when people can be called to answer questions, in what order. So what you do is, if the next person must follow this person, the evidence is hot, things are heating up. All you do is just bump them down the list so that you don't get a coherent understanding of the story. I mean, why do they just not derail this thing? Why do they just not stop? I mean, let's quit the charade. Now the latest news is that the ANC's chief whip, Ndumiseni Ntuli, has said, no, this committee can't deal with classified information because they don't have the right clearance. And they can only do parts of the investigation because parts of it's going to deal with classified information. MK, to their credit, said, well, why not let's create a protocol that allows the committee members to see classified information. But no, the Honourable Mr. Ntuli says that's not good enough. We just don't want them handling. So this is going to go back into procedure. It's going to be weeks before we decide who can see what information. At least MK tried something by making a suggestion. Right? DA, nothing. They clearly quite happy with this thing being kicked down the road. So clearly they're in no hurry to see this thing investigated. But I've got to tell you that this parliamentary committee, which we had such high hopes for, because we got such low expectations of the Commission of Inquiry, the ANC are going to derail this investigation. It's going to be stillborn. They are doing it right now in front of our very eyes by kicking for touch, by playing on minor details and never getting this thing started. Right? We did a piece recently about Kat Molefe as to how much money he has got in projects, 350 billion rand project, and in there they say it leads to 3 cabinet ministers. Clearly this is the same kind of information. We're never going to get down to the answers, and nobody's ever going to go to jail. Parliament are just wasting our time, and I think it's just about time to call it out. This parliamentary committee looking into the Mkhwanazi revelations is never going to get off the ground, not while there's an ANC person near there. Very sad, but we'll keep on reporting, we'll keep on making them answer the questions, and you can just keep on staying tuned to Political Insider to get more information like this. Please subscribe to the channel. We'll see you again soon.